This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hello and welcome back to the Stage Door. This week I'm here with a high school student, Kelsey Green, celebrating the release of a new book, I Was Born Sick, which is an anthology of LGBTQ plus poetry. And it's really exciting to have you on the show. So Kelsey, welcome to the Stage Door.
Thank you so much.
Kelsey, we'll start talking about you as the artist, you as the young person. You are 17 years old and already have published a book, which is so exciting. I often say that Newfoundland has perhaps per capita more published work than anywhere else. It feels like it's so incredible, the art that lives in our world, and it's so exciting to see this book right here from a Corner Brook youth.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
So, Kelsey, where did it start? You know, you're 17 now. What was the journey to be a poet and to get this book out there?
Well, I've been writing ever since I was a little kid. I mean, my mom would take me to the grocery store and I'd be in the shopping cart with my little sticky notes and I'd be writing stories and drawing pictures. Art has always been my calling, really. I've kind of mastered a lot of the arts. I'm a painter, I'm a dancer, I'm a poet, and I'm a photographer. So I've kind of branched out into all sorts of areas, but writing has been something that I've been very passionate about since I was a young kid.
Wow, so it's certainly been a journey from sticky notes to
yes,
published book.
Definitely.
I guess we won't be seeing the sticky notes published anytime soon.
No, I don't say.
But I love that about growing up, where as young people, we're all artistic to some level. We all draw, we all write, and to find that path and start taking it very seriously to publish a book, I think is exciting. So what were some of the moments that stand out as like, oh, I could actually write a book, like I could do something bigger with this?
Well, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I had dreams of being an author. Like, if a teacher asked me, yeah, what do you want to be when you grow up? It was always, oh, I want to be an author, I want to write, I want to be a poet. Like, so it's always been just a dream in the back of my mind that, hey, like, you know, someday, maybe in the near future, maybe never, but eventually I want to publish a book. So I started to put together these poems because I went through something quite traumatic, honestly, over the summer. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of what prompted me to start writing this and start putting this together. So I eventually just started compiling everything. I pulled in some local artists who did some of the artwork in my book. And then when I got to the end of it, it really hit me, and I was like, wait, like, this is happening, that I'm doing this, and I'm going to publish this piece of work, and my writing is going to be out there for the entire world to see. It was pretty shocking, honestly.
I think the arts for many people is such an important outlet. It's so important that sometimes when we go through a traumatic experience, we sit with that trauma, and the arts sometimes gives us a way to package it up.
Definitely,
and turn it into something often beautiful and something very important.
Yeah.
In this case, and it is really a beautiful work. I love that the illustrations are included in there.
Thank you.
It's a very visual book. You know, a lot of poetry is. It's very carefully crafted in terms of where the line breaks and where things go. What shape that the words make on the page is really important, and that really shines through. So I think perhaps your own life as a visual artist, as a photographer and painter, has kind of impacted how you write.
Definitely.
Because it is visual. Yeah. So, you know, I think that's something that I find very interesting. So how, as a writer, do you decide in poetry how it's going to look on the page? Does it take a couple tries sometimes?
It's really interesting, actually, because a couple weeks ago I was waiting in the hospital with my mom, and we were there for about 4 hours, and I had my laptop with me, which is what I used to write on. So I said to her, I said, Mom, can you come up with 3 random words, like completely irrelevant, like random words, and tell them to me, and I'm gonna write a poem about them. So she'd use like a random word generator on the internet, and she'd give me 3 random words, and in less than 5 minutes, I'd have a poem written. So for me, it's always come natural. Like sometimes I amaze myself with my talent because I'm like, how am I doing this? Like, it's always been inside of me. I don't really have any sort of rhythm or method. Like, it's just always been there. It's always been an outlet for me to express my emotions. It's always just been a very expressive art form for me. So that's kind of it.
Well, it certainly is a gift, and it's great that you're able to use it not only to write, but to write for a marginalized community that you're a part of.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful that we're seeing more and more young people able to live their truth earlier and share that. So what has that journey been like as a queer person to take that step of really releasing your truth to a wider audience, to the world?
It's definitely been scary. I had a couple doubts going through with the publishing. I was like, okay, do I really, really want to do this? Like, I'm putting myself out there. I'm basically coming out to the entire world. Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, that's terrifying. So I was just kind of like weighing out the pros and cons, and one of the biggest things that kind of pushed me to actually go through with this was the fact that, look, there's so many other people that are like you and that will be able to relate to these poems. So even though it's scary, even though you might get some backlash, which I haven't, but I was kind of weighing out the pros and cons, and I said, okay, you might get some hate, but it'll be better because for the one hate comment you're gonna have so many supportive comments, you're gonna help so many people. And that was what kind of drove me to actually put this out there and put myself out there. It's definitely been scary, and it still is at times, but I've received so much positivity from it, and it all makes it worth it.
Yeah, and I think we're a small town, Corner Brook, and there has been some challenges to become as accepting as we can,
Right.
but seeing the waves recently have been incredible. If you look in the recent years to see the growth and support of people living their truth and the identification of that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's living your truth. It's being your true self, and no one should have to hide that.
Exactly.
And right here on the Stage Door, we've done coverage on Small Town Queer with Josh Connors and some of his cast, some of their cast, and it's been a really wonderful experience to see how much that meant and to get to explore that here on community television.
Right.
For the community, to see the impact that it has to share these stories and to share truth. And of course, in this book, you dedicate it to some people who supported you, but also for all those young queer teens like yourself. And I'll quote you in front of you here. I see you, I hear you, and I am fighting for you. This book goes out to all of you. You are so very loved. And I think that's a wonderful affirmation to read right off the top before we get into this book. So what has that journey been like to not only be putting yourself out there, but to be that person for other people to see that and
that was
share
my
that?
main goal, really. My main goal in this was to help other people because I felt very alone last summer when I was going through the things I went through. And I was struggling a lot, and I don't want anybody else to struggle like I was. I wanted to help people in any way that I could. So I actually had a mother buy my book for her teen daughter who just came out a couple months ago. She's 12 years old, and this mother bought my book for her, and it was just amazing. She was telling me all about her daughter, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is what I'm destined to do. Like, I'm here to help people, and that's what I'm doing. I've had several comments on my TikTok page because I posted like TikToks about it, and people are saying like, oh my God, like, thank you for like speaking up and having that voice for those who can't. You're helping so many people, and that just, it makes everything worth it because I know I'm accomplishing those goals.
Absolutely. I think it's certainly something I always admire, that people are so willing to share that. And I think that's from experiencing some hard times that we are willing to put ourselves out in a different way to help other people if they go through those hard times. So it's wonderful to hear the reaction has been so positive, and that so immediately you've connected with a child who has just bravely, boldly decided to live their truth, and that a mother this is the first step of support, is that. And I think that's a wonderful thing. It must feel kind of amazing that you're building a support that can be shared so freely and shared so openly. And it is accessible. It's on Amazon. So you could grab a copy today. I Was Born Sick by Kelsey Green on Amazon.ca. So you can certainly get a copy. I think you have some copies here locally as well.
Yep, you can also purchase them directly from me.
There we are. So fantastic. We'll be sure to share the information on that at the end of the episode, so we're able to sell some books and get the word out there. So let's talk a little bit more about the book now. We've got to know you a little bit. The title, I Was Born Sick, that's actually a quote from an artist that you really respect that has become the title for your book. So let's talk about, do you recall, it's a lyric from Take Me to Church, which is a very powerful piece of music. What was your experience like when you first heard that? And then why did you decide that was the line that impacted your own art?
Well, I heard that song a couple years ago, and this was before I came out, before I even knew that I was gay, but I heard that song and it always struck me. It always brought me to tears, and it was just such a powerful song for me. And then through what happened last summer, I was going through a lot of hard times doubting myself, because I never hated or doubted myself for being gay. I was always very open about it, I had no shame. But then after last summer, I took a really hard hit. I started to doubt myself, and I was like, oh my God, is there something wrong with me? Am I just this, sin? Is there something wrong with me? So the title, it's actually really funny, because it says the title is called I Was Born Sick, but there's also another lyric to that. I was born sick, but I love it. And that's what that means to me, is just, some may say you were born sick, or, go date a man, you're not supposed to be gay. But to me, it's just who I am, and I'm going to express that whether people like it or not. I'm going to live my truth.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it is a powerful statement, and just kind of going through the contents, you've divided it into some chapters, and we have young and in love, helpless and heartbroken, encourage and empower, you are enough, I was born sick. And each of these chapters, as I read it a couple times, they each do explore very different sides, and that's the reality. There's no one note, there's no one experience. Even for the same person, there's 10 different experiences that happen, because it is a step that queer people have to take to live their truth.
Exactly.
And people who aren't queer don't have to take that step. It is the assumed truth that people share. And I think it's really important to read it from a young voice. And I think it's spectacular, truly.
Thank you.
So what was it like? There's these beautiful illustrations throughout this book. What was it like to work with another artist on presenting?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So I actually made a call on Snapchat for local artists. I posted on my Snapchat. I was like, hey, any local artists, send me a message. I'm working on something big. So I had a couple of my friends. One, his name is Nathan, and the other one is Emily. Shout out to them. They're amazing. They messaged me and they sent me some of their work, and I was like, okay, do you guys want to work on this with me? Once I get all the profit from the book, some of it's going to them as well, to support them as local artists. So I messaged them, saw their work, and we just kind of started. I told them what my ideas were. I told them I needed a cover picture, and I wanted a couple illustrations for inside. So Nathan did the cover picture, and Emily did the 2 pictures on the inside. And they were so amazed to actually see the book in the flesh. Emily sent me pictures of her copy, and she's like, oh my God, this is amazing. My art is in a book. And it's been so great to see how they're reacting to it. They loved it. They think it's amazing. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, and you know, I commend you for not only putting your own voice out there and being an artist at 17, still in high school, but also putting a call out and supporting other local artists.
Yeah.
Local artists, we always work together, and the Stage Door is an example of that. Everyone kind of praises up each other
Yeah.
in every interview, and it's a really wonderful thing about this place that we're able to reach out and you got a book published, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that's a message for everybody watching. It is possible to do this right now. Amazon is available to help authors get their work seen and get it out and to a broader audience too.
Of course,
you never
yeah.
know who's going to buy this on Amazon.
Right.
And it has done pretty well since coming out, I
Yeah.
understand, which is always so exciting to see that it is reaching that impact. So we're going to get to hear Kelsey read an excerpt from I Was Born Sick. But before we cut to that, I want to ask, you know, we've talked a lot about some of the moments that have impacted you since this book has come out, but what would you say is the takeaway? What is the message to the world that you want people to hear when they read these words?
God, there's so many messages that I want people to take away from this book, but the most prominent one, I guess, is to love your queer child, to support them. You know, if you have a child, your job is to unconditionally love them and support them and be there for them. And why should that change if they come out and tell you that they love the same sex? So mostly my message is to parents is to love your child, to support them, to be their advocate, to be there for them, to show them that they aren't alone, to fight for them, to stand up for them, all of those things. And another message would be, again, to those who are like me, that you're not alone. There's support out there. There's youth out there who can help you. There's adults out there who will help and support you. I mean, we do live in a small town, you know, small community, small minds sometimes, but there's strength in numbers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Kelsey, for sharing that.
Thank you.
I think that's an important message for different people that read it. I Was Born Sick by Kelsey Green. It is available on Amazon, or you can contact Kelsey below. We'll share that on our Facebook page, how to get a copy of the book. And now we are going to get to hear Kelsey read an excerpt from I Was Born Sick.
Okay, so this first one is from the chapter I Was Born Sick. And it says, it's a quote that was actually directly told to me. Same-sex relationships are gross and nasty. Just because my relationship doesn't fit the boundaries of your heteronormative idea of love, that doesn't mean it's gross and nasty. What is, however, is homophobia. This is the reason why queer youth are buried before they can live, and their parents sit back and wonder why. So that's that one. And then there's another one, also from I Was Born Sick, and it says, you cannot manipulate someone into being gay, and the fact you would tell your own child this is unforgivable and beyond sinful. So those are two excerpts from my book, and they both mean a lot to me. Through everything that I went through last summer, it's been very difficult and very challenging, but I'm ready to break out of that shell. I'm ready to live my truth. I'm ready to use my voice to make a change.
Powerful words from an incredible young author sharing that truth in a very public format. I Was Born Sick by Kelsey Green. Thank you so much, Kelsey, for coming on the Stage Door and talking about your art and talking about your life and sharing so openly. So thank you. And thank you for joining us at the Stage Door. We'll see you next week.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
At St. John Ambulance, we're all about community. We teach life-saving skills and provide community support through our volunteer services. All St. John Ambulance product sales and training registrations support these important services. Volunteer, donate, or enroll in a program today so we can continue to have an impact on our community. Visit sja.ca to learn more. At St. John Ambulance, we do more than save lives, we change lives.
I am not a streamer. I am an entertainer that streams on Twitch. Let's get it right.
This is authenticity.
I don't think we could have imagined that chess influencers would be hitting 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Most people might think going viral is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I had no idea what I was in for.
If you want to live in the future, you have to invent it.
Your mouth can do a lot of amazing things. And your mouth can save a life.
Hi, I'm Tom Wong. I'm just one of close to 1,000